specifically can get choked out of lane very, very heavily if the mid lane jungle duo on the opposing side plays around it properly. So we're going to be keeping eyes specifically on how DICE can perhaps limit some of Veigar's for early interactions and try and cause that CS loss in the early game. On top of that, you mentioned the Zeri also having a little bit of struggle, and I think Unica and the Leona and the Volley Bear, we're going to be looking at these two as an early walk-in. UGO's get a little bit aggressive. Not much is going to result from it. Yeah, Hatel and Unica, how can they use their early game pressure to try and get a little bit of space on the map so that Veigar and Zeri can navigate this early game effectively? That's where my eyes are at.
Yeah, and my eyes are at Wounds and Summoner spell choices because DICE and Yuhi both opted into the cleanse. I can't fault them for that, but V3 are going to have a tough time locking down either of them.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Just that Killer Instinct as well as the Spirit Rush, both really easy tools to just go, okay, we're not doing this fight. That's not happening. We won't be doing this one. On top of that, they also pair really well with aggressive play. It means they can dash past the baby cage or any other CC that V3 want to throw out. So a lot of choices that can be made by Burning Core. They're dropped very, very flexible in that aspect. So going to be excited how they play mid game. Early game though, however, I think going to be slightly favored towards Burning Core, especially if Yuhi and Fuji can find a little bit of space in the first couple of levels.
Let's go. Blitzcrank is on the side of V3 Hopium. We've got him.
V3 Hopium
They're
coming
scaling.
in. Look at that power spike. That's all blue, baby. Well, for the most part, anyway. Pre-20, it's a bit of a Burning Core diff, apparently.
I mean, I'm not surprised. We've got a Kaiser Nautilus. That is one of those bot lanes that has been very popular, you know, last season as well, which does really well in a 2v2 and it's a strong kill lane.
Yeah, combine that with the rune choice being that Hail of Blades, which is oh so impactful within the early game. If Fuji's able to find any CC, you can get very, very quick procs of Yuhi's passive to get some early game damage, and maybe that can give access, especially if you can have the wave control for Fuji to maybe get on the map a little bit earlier.
Potentially. Right now, it is just trying to bait Dresscode and Hetel out into this spot of the lane where they're not quite under tower and where potentially, should there be an overstep, Fujimoto can look for that hook.
The junglers specifically, both on that full clear, both just finishing up their buffs. Flawless a little bit quicker on his clear, but he will get spotted out on the top side. You see immediately pings coming out. Unica knows in response he can look for this scuttle, as well as maybe potentially look for a walk in because he has the shove in on top side as well.
Yeah, that will be the scuttle top side taken by Unica. Still has the Grom to come back to, which means Flawless, if he wants the scuttle, he has to go all the way back to the bot lane. But I feel like Graves in the first few levels, especially given how, I don't want to say boring, but eventless those lanes have been, he's just fine with farming.
Absolutely. I think Smokescreen, whilst being a very impactful tool, it's not the best ganking tool in isolation. He's really waiting for his lanes to get a little bit more damage on board so that he can gank through that. And to be fair to him, there's a lot of damage on board as a hook's found onto Hetel and a little bit of poke come out. As remember, Graves is on this bot side, so they're going to try and aggress up down here.
There is no vision. Hetel now gonna walk in and spots him out with this Weeper, but maybe a bit too late. Hetel flashes under the tower. The heal comes out from Dresscode Ignite. Not going to be anywhere near enough. It's a trade of summoners in the bot lane.
It'll be a little bit of tempo for Burning Core, not too much, but you do get the flash out Hetel, which is really important for the first Drake fight if it actually does end up happening. And with these repeated shoves-ins as well, it's very likely that Yuhi, after this reset coming in, they may look towards his dragon.
Indeed, and I might as well take this time in the early game to say that V3, you know, one would assume if you're 0-15, there is no chance of playoffs. Technically speaking, that's false, but any loss eliminates them already, as well as Axis or Hawks winning any game means that V3 aren't making it into playoffs. So whereas, yes, there's some hope, and I just wanted to throw it out there. Yep. I think realistically, we're looking at, can V3, you know, show us signs of hope when it comes to summer?
Well, this is the first game for us to really go like, hey, I mean, they can still do it. Now, I would like to remind people at home, even through that, they do have to play DFM a final time.
Yeah.
So there is something, they do have to keep that in mind. But at least in this game, definitely very doable because as you mentioned in draft, Bunny Corp been on a little bit of a downswing. And that's specifically because it looks like specifically this top side, Flawless and Rayfarky looking a little bit that they don't quite seem to understand the roles when they're off their key picks. We talked about especially earlier on in the season, and Flawless is a little bit trading the mid lane. Flawless is really earing towards these AP junglers, the Karthus and the Diana, and especially on some of the other picks that he's been looking towards, such as the Trundle, hasn't looked as confident. Now we're seeing him on the Graves jungle, which we already mentioned. Previous performances on the Graves jungle looked very good on players like Kassin. I want to see whether or not Flawless is able to make it work because we're already seeing the essence of that, because early game has gone very cleanly for him, and this is really when his lanes start to get very oppressive. Dice finally has the Spirit Rush. These are really good early game enabling tools to look for a successful early skirmish.
Yeah, and Unica will be looking for Fujimoto, but I also think it's important to point out Dice currently no mana. Rushing those Lucidity Boots, which means no Lost Chapter when it comes to that extra bit of mana region, you won't be seeing any of that.
Maybe specifically targeted towards repeated wave shoves. Now, getting Flawless on that reset, they know that they can get Fujimoto. They get his flash out, and because of all that pressure from the bot and the mid, and Dice coming in, they can pick up the first Drake as well, which is a nice tidy cloud. As Flawless is very aggressively walking into.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Don't know if it's gonna be much. They have the Spirit Rush.
Gotta be careful, Spirit Rush. Forward flash over the wall, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Still potentially in danger. Flawless goes over the wall. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just stuck in the pit. Here comes Unica, though. And Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't very much worse for it, but no, now that Charm connects, Fujimoto will hook the red buff, but it doesn't matter because Flawless takes the first blood.
Very well played from Burning Core to understand that even after that Drake's taken, they can continue to walk in and look for a kill. First blood going onto Flawless, and with this Serrated Dark being picked up, it looks like this is also going to be an Eclipse build coming out as well. So really eager to get burst out onto V3 as much as possible. And that it kind of pairs up with what the team wants, right? You look at how much initial engage they have on the board. They really want to pick one person off and burst it repeatedly. Now, yeah, just you get to watch this walking here. I think the big thing is Dice is so patient with this charm. Really doesn't want to blow it until it's absolutely guaranteed.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! You can see just sidestepping around this red buff trying to bait out the charm, but no, Dice with perfect patience, and yeah, that is the first kill going to Burning Core. I was gonna make the point before that happened that, you know, V3 doing pretty well, even ahead in CS in some lanes, but now that changes the dynamic of the game somewhat significantly.
And this gold lead coming out is not just through a little bit of sunlight, it's also through the jungle. Flawless first blood, as well as almost being 5 camps up now on Unica very quickly in this game. Only 8 minutes have passed. It's starting to spell a little bit of a tail for Burning Core.
Yeah, it is, but now we'll see what the V3 will do with this Herald pickup. Now, what I'm mostly looking at is see if Burning Core will respond at all or what they will do instead, because Yuhi has got the priority in botting. You see Dress Code is backing off, so maybe a plate or two. If you can get that onto Yuhi, that pays for the Herald in the short term.
Yeah, I think if they do manage to pick this up, that's actually both of the early objectives as well that we'd be looking towards. So even with this gold deficit, they're still making priority plays, which is what we want to see. If they are able to get maybe a couple of plays, I think, you know, you can also look towards the top side. It's quick and it's easy. We know that Washidai is going to have repeated wave subs into this Gragas. That could be another easy choice to get a couple of early plays in.
Yeah, and last game we saw Paz on that Gnar only really started taking off after that whole breaker. Yes, has been shoving in all game and managed to take down a few plates, which, well, plates were not there yet. In terms of shoving the wave, getting ahead, that is what we are starting to see from Washidai. So really curious to see if he can emulate the same thing we saw from Paz last game.
A bit of a difference in build like this time. Washidai's opted into early Merc Treads. He's really trying to neutralize his lane as much as possible. Just wants to get safe wave shoves in so that he can play for potentially the roam. Now, EP's not available for topside, and Burning Core starting very aggressively in this jungle.
Unica is on a ward. We'll just clear out the walls. Walks away. Fujimoto, he's got the flash over the wall. And you can see Yu-Gi-Oh! Playing very safe. Doesn't want to get dove because I don't think you survive that. It's one of those... yeah, just play safe mid.
He knows that nobody's on the map at the moment, which means that if you've ever played mid lane, you know if nobody's on the map, they're mid lane at the moment. And he understands that. Just decides to reset in, even with the wave coming in, because of that threat from the dive.
No,
well,
don't go there. Don't go there. No, Yuji. Oh, he falls for it. He took the bait. He's still alive, though, actually. Nah, he's dead. There we go. Flawless or dice. It will be dice taking the kill.
Very good. So yeah, Fuji lives with the sliver. It looks very scary there because Baby Cage came in, stunned up Fuji, and then they weren't able to find the damage, but they pick him off in the end. And even with Merc Treads, Yu-Gi-Oh ends up falling.
Yeah, unfortunately went back to the lane and yeah, got dove, denied a wave. So Yu-Gi-Oh getting put behind. Now, I like to see Yuki being forced away from this turret, but Unica is coming down. Realistically, what V3 are getting here? Well, actually, if they get it 2 plays, that's pretty good. Never mind that.
On top of that, they had the Herald as well. So before this wave falls, the Herald is going to end up coming up. Now, Yuhi, I feel like he's playing to bait in the players of V3. We see Flawless moving down as well. He gets a little bit of damage on the head tail. The big thing there is that he stops that complete wave shove and the dive. So first turret not yet picked up. And on top of that, Fuji just on a reset now. So perfect timers for the straight coming up as Ray Farki is getting chased down by Washi.
I mean, playing that Gragas, you can imagine he's going to be able to sustain for quite a bit. In fact, health-wise, he's winning the straight. And now Washida needs to be careful, the cask. 100 HP short.
Yeah, really fishing for that solo kill there potentially. Wasn't able to find the angle though, and it looked scary for him for a second. Regen a little bit HP, suddenly looking for the solo kill. Both top laners have TP, and this gives Ray Farki the opportunity to pick up level 10 before his reset, and he forces Washidai's TP top lane too. So Ray Farki now having access to TPs means he can probably just walk down to this dragon and make sure to secure this with his team before TPing back top lane, and we see him doing this now.
Yeah, no teleport for any sort of bot side fight, which I feel like if, you know, we talked about how V3 want to play, they kind of just want to scale.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going? Are they in a point where we're very worried about them coming in the game? I will hold on. Actually, yeah, no, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't deal damage yet. Never mind.
No, it's Mercs and a Kindle Gem. Don't worry, he's not going to be one-shotting anybody yet. I think this first Drake is the most important thing, right? They picked up the cloud so early on, they slow down this potential soul that Burning Core can be looking towards, especially considering their dominant mid-game or mid-game power. They slow that down by 5 minutes, and that's a really important thing to know. So Baby Cage comes out and gets a stun, but as mentioned, it's Kindle Gem, it's a tier, it's Merc Treads. Yu-Gi-Oh's not going to be doing any damage for just a little bit more time.
Yeah, V3 are definitely playing the long game here. Just trying to clear out the vision, and let's be honest, they are relatively successful with that, haven't fallen behind after, you know, the dives in the mid lane and the dragon, the herald being picked up. Wait, no, the herald was the V3. I'm trolling. Never mind that. You know, okay. Just start talking.
Okay, we're gonna see through V3 having to give up a little bit of belly pressure. Actually, they're still taking a little bit of control of vision. We're seeing relatively safe vision come out, but at least they're putting it out there, which means that every time that Flawless walks through river, it gets spotted out and bot lane know exactly how they need to play. On top of that, it looks like Washidai having this pressure on the top side, he can get a little bit of aggressive vision down as well to make sure if he wants to play this lane repeatedly, he can just walk up and pressure out Ray Farki.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm kind of disappointed with the level of action we've seen from the bot lane. I mean, to be fair, it is Fujimoto playing a lot of the time away from that bot lane, and we even saw Burning Core leave Yuki and, you know, let V3 take 3 plays, but still, I feel like I would have liked to see a bit more from this Kaiser.
I am very interested by the build path because we see Serrated Dirt picked up and then also opting into a potential AD carrying mythic. So no crown here, no Ludens coming out. Instead, we're going to be looking towards normally the build when you do this would be that Kraken Slayer, but when you combine that with Serrated Dark, it's definitely physical damage focused. And I don't know how much value we're going to find out of that in this game. We're going to see how he gets to play through this AD focused build, especially because when you're looking at targets he has to hit so low range with that physical damage build, you're going to have to be dealing with Baby Cage, you have to deal with Leona as well as Volley Bear walking up to you. This could be a potential bleeding point for Burning Core.
Yeah, and furthermore, first tower now picked up by Dress Code in the bot lane. V3 I mean, they are playing through this bot side, and Burning Core, they have been known to just leave Yuhi out on the weak side of the map, and right now, this is working in favor of DFM, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, they after Burning
did I
Core
say
took
DFM?
You did say DFM,
I
but
meant
it's fine.
V3.
Burning Core, after taking a couple of proactive early game steps, they've kind of just slowed down the game a little bit, and by and large is working V3. Oh, big charm though.
Unica will go gold and has got the flash to get away if he wants to, but no, instead Etel going in deep with the solar flare dropping down, and that's Fujimoto dead, but that is only the support. Dresscode will need to evacuate, and the rest of Burning Core are chasing. V3 down, Dice has to burn that cleanse. It is 1-0. V3, though, will have to back away from this Herald. They don't get much of a position on the map.
Yeah, HP pools are still an advantage for Burning Core, and they only really have a couple of tools that they can play through, that being that Volleyball Ultimate as well as the Solar Flare from Leona. When those are down, their engaged tools are really, really limited, so then they have to, in turn, sequester the pressure and give up the Herald, but using that killer instinct, but it's not enough damage on board yet, and that's really that AD build coming in alongside with no tier as well. Actually, I should probably note as well, which means we're seeing no Mirror Mana on top of that.
Yeah, this is just the Kraken Slayer into, I mean, Collector if you're going crit, I would have to imagine.
I think so, right? And that means that we're really focused on quick succinct kills with that isolated Q, the Q max as well. Definitely going to be looking towards picking off individual people very quickly, which, to be fair, plays very well with the common. You can see here, this charm really to start the fight is very, very important because they burn the stopwatch immediately from Unica, and this means that all the follow-up that comes out is with that in mind. And whilst one kill gets picked up, look at all the HP they burn out, and Dice is really the standard here because he repeatedly found charms to get damage out, which means that even with that kill being picked up, they get the Herald on board.
Yeah, and I believe the Herald was used to take the mid lane turret. Yep, it was indeed. So, creating a lot of space for Burning Core. I mean, you can see the amount of vision they have in the top side.
Bloody, that's a lot of vision indeed. Yeah. And whilst that was rotated towards top side with that small gold lead, as well as their pressure in mid game, they're going to very, very quickly with that mid lane push, hopefully rotate it down to bot side to set up for the next Drake. And I think, did we note it was Ocean Soul? It is Ocean Soul this game, which is very fun Drake to play through in extended fighting. So I think if V3 are able to contest this, it'd be really important for them because they really are looking for these longer fights, multiple baby cages coming, as well as Dresscode really getting to play the game against a very burst heavy comp coming out from Burning Core.
All right, Unica trying to punish Ray Farkey. Hetel is here as well. Down comes the Everfrost. The cask is here as well. Ray Farkey flashes away from the Solar Flare, but the stun connects nonetheless. Hetel takes the kill. Not what you want to see, but V3 should be able to take this tower on top of that.
Yeah, they get the Leona picking up the kill, but in return you get the turret. However, because they sent up all three members, it does mean that Burning Core have a little bit of proactivity to look for the spot lane tier. But the baby cage.
Yeah, the event Horizon finds the stun, and Dice is so low. Dresscode will take him down. Flawless takes the tier 2. Let's see if we can get out as V3 will continue the fight in the top side with Fujimoto being focused down. Depth charge finds everyone. Watch that. Goes Mega and finds the Gnar into the wall. Yuki's still alive, but Fujimoto flash and taken down by Unica. V3 are fighting.
Yeah, you had a dubstep ignite, but that's a dubstep smite there coming up for Unica, picking off that kill there. Very, very good. And you can see Yuhi struggling to find consistent damage in that 3v2 there. Oh, I guess I should say 3v3. And so overall, not going in the favor. In the meantime, V3 in the boss side, this is really where this Veigar gets online. I'm wondering which we're going to replay of. We get the replay on the dive into Ray Farkey instead. And, you know, they knew that this rotate was going to happen, but Burning Core were just a little bit slow in terms of the movement from their bot lane. And so kill onto Ray Farkey gets rebound. And then in the meantime, we get to see this kill in boss side. And Everfrost has been picked up by Yu-Gi-Oh! So you're going to see here, he drops the baby cage. Dice doesn't actually get stunned, but the Everfrost comes out to guarantee the AoE. And in that, you know, being scared of the Everfrost, he actually ends up walking into the cage anyway. So the stun comes out. Dresscode is really quick to follow that up and look for the kill there.
1-0-1 on the Zeri. The items will start trickling through, and Zeri is one of those champions in lane, very unimpressive, but once you get a few items under your belt, well, that's when the show is really starting.
Target to just run at people like a madman. That's really where this champion benefits, is you get that ultimate off with that. I mean, look at all the bursts as well that follows up from you hit from any solar flares. The Veigar also has a lot of bursts. When you combine that with a good extended fighting coming from low cooldowns on Veigar as well as Zeri just running amongst everybody else, it's going to be very scary for Burning Core to navigate these fights if they aren't able to find very, very quick kills.
All right. Well, I don't know why the camera keeps going, but like, Washidai and Ray Farky, they're just going to keep fighting like that. But the mid lane Hitel goes way too far.
That's a quick kill right there onto Hitel, really overstepping and trying to fish for that first engage. But the problem is the amount of damage on board for Burning Core is nothing to scoff at. We're seeing 2 penetration items on the Graves, the Eclipse also being picked up, which means a lot of penetration coming out. On top of that, Yuhi's build is very specifically targeted towards picking off members who haven't picked up any armor yet. And if you have a scan at Hitel, it's almost like we're mirroring last game. It's a Merc Treads Aegis, and it just isn't enough for Yuhi to defend from Yuhi and Flawless's onslaught. They pick up the kill there, and now looking to punish Washidai and over-aggressive in the boss side. Yeah,
and if there's one thing that Yuhi's build is good, it's picking off single targets. So Washidai, I don't think he stands too much of a chance. The Kalenistic will go forward. Minions tanking up some of that Decathlon Rain, but Yuhi will be able to take the second kill of this game on the Kai'Sa.
A little bit of a fumble from V3. They dropped the bag in the mid lane. At the same time, Washidai he's still in the same position he was when V3 were the aggressors. When they're having to play from behind, he's the only person who's vulnerable there. So Burning Core are really quick with it. Oh, okay, well, Washidai's pushed up. Let's go kill him. And they do that in turn. And now gold lead, 3k for Burning Core. And they very quickly taken the vision line back again for themselves. We're seeing red all across the top side as this Baron was the next objective. And now we've got Drake spawning up. And remember, they picked up that third Drake as well. This Drake will be sole point for them.
Yeah, and you mentioned how V3 had... Okay, the charm does connect, never mind. But how V3 took the first dragon, it will delay the soul a bit, but we are looking at, 28-ish minutes for that soul if Burning Core secure this dragon. With the current game state, I don't believe that is going to be enough for V3 to really scale to where they want to be.
Oh, it would be, but... Unica comes out.
It's gonna be rooted instead, just a lot of skill shots thrown his way, but it's taken down to just above half health. And Burning Core now getting the mid lane priority. You can see them standing in every bush in every bit of map where V3 have no vision, and they've got so much burst damage on single targets. You can't just face check if you're V3, so they are in a really tough spot.
Yeah, it's funny seeing Dresscode have more effective HP than Hitel right now. It really shows the state of this champion, but also how V3 want to play, because they really want to use Hitel and Unica as their main bodies in these fights, their HP resource, and they're unable to do so, and it's really showing in this mid game how strong Burning Core are. They pick up the third Drake and also are taking complete control of the jungle. Look at the vision that's been spread so deep through this bot side. This really enables Ray Farky to play aggressively in the side lane, and in tandem with that, maybe look for even more kills as B3 are trying to find something in return.
We'll see how successful they are at doing that. But now against the soul point, well, you've got 5 more minutes. That is kind of the timer, I feel like, because after that, when there is the Infernal Soul, you're gonna have UGO burst someone down.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see his third item is going to be really pivotal for how we think Yuhi's going to navigate these fights, because Double Dagger comes out, maybe indicates we won't be seeing the IE third, and we'll be seeing something. I mean, I daren't say Nashers. I hope it isn't a Nashers. I'm assuming this means we're going to be seeing something like the PD come out, just really attack speed focus, getting multiple passive procs on targets if he is able to find that killer instinct. And as you mentioned, the amount of bursts coming out from Burning Core is so scary for Unica and Hitel to walk up.
Yeah, especially Unica going for that Zonius on the Volibear. I mean, I think it's a pretty decent item, but it definitely isn't a tank item for sure.
It's a purchase that he has made. I'll say that.
Yes.
It's very specifically targeted towards dealing with the depth charge, the charm, the burst coming out from Flawless. Remember, if he's able to bait out these spells as a big charm comes in.
Yeah, Hitel is gonna pop the Eclipse, survives for quite a while, but Solar Flare only connects onto Fujimoto, and that dies already with the kill onto Hitel. Another one. Unica will have to use that Stormbringer away to safety, and V3 support down will just disengage, leave Washidai on the side lane, and pray and hope Burning Core don't do Baron?
Yeah, and something I want to know here is that Dice, number one, repeatedly down in these charms, and it's almost like he's the prophet. He's foreseen all the outcomes, all the charms that he's going to hit, and he's opted into the Horizon Focus second item. This works very specifically when the other CC targets V3 are walking in blind, and Unica gets absolutely blown up. There's a TP in response though.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Dresco both have the flash. Yu-Gi-Oh flashing again into the pit. Teleport was committed from Ray Farkey. Jungler down, Burning Core. You guys can just take the Baron. You guys can do whatever the hell you want because V3, they've got no responses.
They know that the scariness of dealing with the Baron, especially when you have low mana on Dice, they opt not to go for that anyway. They're going to get their resets in because they understand no throws can come in at this time. They have their win condition. It's this Ocean Drake. They really are looking towards it, so they're going to end up sequestering all of their vision in the top side, even though... Yeah, they are absolutely walking in blind. They really want to get this vision control on board for a brief period of time so they can potentially let contest Burning Core. But Washidai is by himself. I don't know if this is going to work out how he planned.
Yeah, I don't see the reason for this teleport. Well, I mean, yeah, you get vision here if you're V3. But Washidai teleports, and I was kind of assuming they're just going to send it for the Baron, which... I'm not necessarily saying would be better, but it would make more sense. And now Flawless will have to burn the flash collateral damage away as well. So at least they get some summoners whilst they're at it.
Yeah, getting the flash from Flawless is pretty big. I don't know how much it's going to mean though, because we've seen how Flawless has been navigating these fights so far, and it's mostly been through, hey, Dice has hit a charm, I'm just going to press all my buttons. The bigger thing is collateral damage is gone for around 45 seconds now. How can V3 potentially look for anything? Now, it is a 4K deficit. That's not huge in the large picture of things, but it is 26 minutes in, which means that, I mean, we can see on the board, Ari has 3 items, Kais has 3 items, the other carries from V3 side are left trailing to pick up from that. And then on top of that, other purchases are really close too. Flawless is very, very close to this Serolda's Grudge coming in third. On top of that, Ray Farkey finally getting this Fimbulwinter is a big upgrade for the effective HP balls of Burning Core.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say that it is impressive that Dresco is able to keep on par with, you know, in items. With Yuhi, as Ray Farkey does something we didn't see. So there is that. But I feel like the difference in items, especially in the jungle and in the mid lane, is really what is making this game difficult for V3 to play out. And they're going to have to fight around this dragon. They don't have too much of a choice.
I see Dice playing aggressively, and this is the reason why I don't think this Veigar matchup as the Ari is too bad. You have constant move speed coming out from your W, and it means that it's really difficult to throw the cage down if you are trying to max range it, because she ends up just walking out, and then that cooldown is burned. You can look for the pick and return, and Dice, very aggressive here. We're seeing the dance begin, and V3 are very unified. They want to be on this objective first, so that Burning Core had to play into the cage.
Dice is going to get stunned into the wall, burns the cleanse, throws the Spirit Rush away. Baby Cage does keep the rest of Burning Core away, but V3, they don't find anything. Washidai is back in the mini Nard, but Flawless is on the way from this dragon. It's going low, and it will be secured by Unica. But now V3, they need to win this fight. Yuju went golden. He is now dead, and that is going to be the fight. You have to imagine Dresco hops over the wall, manages to pick off Fujimoto, but Ray Farkey will put him to the grave, and that is a 3-4-1 Burning Core. They might have lost the dragon, but they're gonna win the fight. Looking for the fourth one is Yuhi, and that should be the Baron as well. Yeah,
you're looking at what they can pick up now. Baron going to be the first thing, and we look at all the standing tier 2s remaining they can use to increase their gold lead. On top of that, bot lane inhib turret is open now, so Ray Farkey being the ever-present side laner, maybe they can look to use him to get these waves shoved and look for that, and finally get the replay in and just keep eyes on Dice in this game, because once again, charm after charm, combine that with a fantastic cast from Ray Farkey to really disrupt V3's engage tools, means that they never really got to play the game. You see Dresco here trying to find DPS, because remember, they are playing from deficit at this point, and then finally, as soon as this is gone, the dragon gets taken, and then Ray Farkey waits for Yu-Gi-Oh to come out of stopwatch to find the cask. Fantastic to pick off both the members of V3 and really seal the deal for this fight.
Yeah, Dresco there was unable to attack for full on 4 seconds thanks to that cask. So yeah, I was kind of wondering where the damage went from V3. That explains it. Now, the Baron buff has been secured while we were in this replay, as Dice will have to burn this ultimate here. V3 are committing to engage in this jungle, but Ray Farky is over this wall. You have to imagine this Gragas will be going in when possible, and Yu-Gi-Oh! On the side manages to close up Fujimoto, but is just dead thanks to Yuki, who's going in with a killer instinct for the double kill. And Dresco is running away, all zoomed up, so he should be fine. But V3 2 members down against this bad buff. If any more die, that might be the game here even. Okay, Burning Core, they've got this cannon minion. They're gonna go for the mid-inhib tower.
Yeah, Ray Farky too tanky to care. Just going to go ahead and tank out that turret. Make sure they can get this early inhibitor because they're looking towards this top lane tier 1, as well as maybe clearing through this jungle and taking some more camps away. Very successful fight. A 2-for-1 ultimately. Obviously, they end up losing Fuji there, but you're seeing the lack of damage that Yu-Gi-Oh is pumping out here, and I think it's really through this itemization. You can see how the fight plays out here. And once again, I mean, it's just. I don't know whether to say it's Burning Core being in the lead or if Dice is just playing extremely well. I mean, you can see the lack of damage really showing here, and then the response immediately from Burning Core, so much more impactful. Yuhi finally making sure the waves are set up, and look at him. Where does Yu-Gi-Oh go? Where does he go?
I don't know, man. It's a tough one for V3. They are looking at, you know, their 16th loss right now, which would formally put them out of playoffs, just to put the cherry on top, I guess. That's probably not the most appropriate way to call it. Also, Death Cap picked up by Dice. So I full on believe you can one-shot someone like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Dresscode if you land the charm. Although, actually, I'm not sure. Dresscode, because Zeri has a lot of health.
There are 4 Merc Treads on the board as well, and Zeri does have a lot of HP, so we'll see. I think Dice is kind of identifying his role as just repeated charm user. He's going to be throwing out charms constantly, being a threat as the charm can't, and you can see it there perfectly. Lands Charm Tail, very quick kill. They're going to unlock the second inhibitor now, and they might even look for the game end.
I think it should be 11,000 is the gold lead, or almost, as Fujimoto finds the hook. And here comes the dunk from Unico. The cask is just glorious from Ray Farky, and that should be the game. Yuki diving into the backline, taking out Dresco and Yu-Gi-Oh! The only hope left for V3 will go down with them. Burning Core, they managed to take a staple win against V3. V3's 16th loss in a row. Now, formally out of playoffs, and congrats to Burning Core, because that looked a lot cleaner than the last game these two teams played.